Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're talking about all of the things you don't need on your urban or commuter bike, and maybe a couple things that you do need as well. Hey everybody, I'm Tom, and this is Shifter, a channel about urban cycling, bike commuting, and the ways we get around our city. One of my mantras on this channel is that any bike is a great bike to ride. My goal here is to see more people enjoy cycling the way I do, because I think it's good for ourselves, it's good for our cities, and it's good for the planet. And so I love the simplicity of cycling. But a recent trip to a bike shop reminded me that sometimes it feels like the bike industry just seems really determined to complicate cycling. New bikes are amazing, and yeah, I kind of want to buy them all. But they also are loaded with all kinds of gear and technology, and it got me wondering if we actually need all of that stuff on our bikes. And so what I thought I'd do is think back to all the years that I've been riding in a city and as a bike commuter, and I thought today I'd let you know all the things that you probably don't need on your bike and a few things that you do for a happy urban bike life. All right, let's get started. Okay, the first thing on my list of things you probably don't need on your urban bike, suspension. So sometime in the late 80s, when mountain bikes totally took over the North American bicycle market, somehow suspension systems became almost standard on a lot of bikes that are sold here. But sometimes I think people buy them just because they look cool and aren't actually thinking about how they're used. I mean, if you're on a mountain trail full of rocks and dirt and roots that is really jarring your body, of course suspension systems are helpful. But you know it's not that rough usually? Concrete and asphalt. Cities are usually pretty smooth. Let's break this down even further. I can't think of any situation in a city in which you need a rear suspension or a full suspension bike. Rear suspensions are expensive, they're heavy, and they're really made for those big jarring blows on a mountain bike trail. Now, front suspension, I can see if you really live in a city that's full of cracks and potholes, and I know a lot of cities are like that, including mine in some cases. They can be helpful, but I think a lot of people don't really think about suspension also being a detriment to your ride. If you have a really squishy suspension system and you're going up a hill, sometimes a lot of that power that you're putting into the bike gets absorbed by the suspension system instead of getting transferred down to the road to propel you forward. So it actually makes your riding a bit more inefficient, a bit slower, and a bit squishier, a bit harder to ride. So if you really feel like you need suspension, I say go for it. But I'd say in most cases, if you're only riding in a city on a bike that's never going to see a trail, I don't think you need them. And in some cases, I think they actually make your life harder. And while we're on the topic of mountain bikes, dropper posts. If you're not a mountain biker, you may have never even heard of these, but some mountain bikes these days are equipped with a thing called a dropper post, a little button on your handlebar that raises and lowers your seat. I mean, this comes in handy if you're going up a hill and then you're ready to go down, you want to change your position and the seat gets in the way. But I can't think of a lot of scenarios in a city in which you can't just stop, get off, adjust your post and get back on. I can't even remember the last time I changed my post anyway or I adjusted it. Save yourself some money, forget the dropper post. That's the extent of my tap dance skills. Number 3 on my list of things you probably don't need on your urban bike. Clip-in pedals. So a lot of bike racers and serious cyclists have these pedals and special shoes that connect. There's a clip on the bottom that goes into your pedal. The idea is that if your foot is affixed to your pedal, you can pull up as well as push down, therefore getting more power and speed on your ride. The side effect of that is that you get these weird shoes that are super stiff on the bottom, hard to walk in, and they make funny noises when you walk. On your urban bike, you're going to be getting on and off a lot. You're going to stop at the grocery store, you're going to go to the pub, and if you want to clip-clop into the pub to meet your friends, plus some studies have showed that the benefits of clip-in pedals might be overrated because it seems like only trained racers, trained professionals can get the most out of it. Most of us get almost no power from the upswing and almost all from the downstroke. So if you're not getting anything out of these pedals anyway, why are you wearing the weird shoes? Oh, regular shoes, so much better. Okay, next on my list of things you probably don't need is disc brakes. Now, some of you are going to disagree with this, but hear me out. On a mountain bike, if you're descending a trail really quickly and you're within 4 inches of your face becoming a tree trunk and the only thing to prevent it is your brakes, then yeah, disc brakes are absolutely going to stop you faster than the old-fashioned kind of V-brakes or rim brakes. I'd even say on a road bike, if you're going down a hill at 90 kilometers an hour, disc brakes might be a good idea, although the Tour de France riders only adopted disc brakes a couple of years ago and kind of reluctantly. I'd even say on an e-bike, because of the extra weight and speed, disc brakes are a good idea. and maybe on a cargo bike, and even my winter bike I have disc brakes because I find disc brakes withstand the mud and the gunk and all that kind of stuff in a snowy climate. But if you're riding your bike regularly 20 kilometers an hour on bike lanes, safe bike lanes or pathways, and you're not really in that much danger, I'd say maybe you could be like millions of people all over the world for the last 150 years and just use old-fashioned rim brakes or V-brakes. You'll probably be fine. Probably. So remember earlier when I said that sometimes I worry the bike industry is just a little too focused on bike racing and they put a ton of focus on any little technological advantage in a bike and then use it to upsell you into a more expensive model? Right, well, I put carbon fiber frames into that category as well. Now, don't get me wrong, carbon fiber frames are amazing. They make amazingly light bikes. This bike is my old 10-year-old cyclocross bike. Every time I pick it up, I'm shocked how light it is, and it only has a carbon fiber fork. Full carbon fiber bikes are sometimes hard to fathom how light they are and how strong they are. But they can be, can I say, fragile is the wrong word, but I'm going to say they can be a little fragile. And if you're riding in a city and you're leaning your bike up against fences, or sometimes it falls over, or you're leaving it out where it can be stolen, then I'd suggest that maybe carbon fiber is a little bit overkill. In fact, I'd say the bike industry's fixation on weight in general might be a little bit overkill. I mean, I understand if you're in a bike race, every 1/10 of an ounce makes a difference, but if you're just commuting to work or just riding around, I'm willing to bet that 1/10 of an ounce doesn't make as much difference in your overall ride as you think it does. Plus, carbon fiber is expensive and it will just break your heart if your bike gets stolen. So if you want to save yourself some anxiety and maybe a headache and maybe some money, maybe stick with steel or aluminum or titanium even instead of carbon fiber. You might be thankful for it in the long run. Number 6 is too many gears. So I have a whole video out there about why I love my 3-speed internal hub. I even have a soft spot for 7 speeds, but I do think most bikes sold these days are overloaded with too many gears. In a city, you just don't need them. I find that even when I ride a bike with 18 or 21 speeds, I usually stick to 5 or 6 or 7, and that's the max. And I actually get around every day using 3 speeds. And I find the more you cut down on the speeds, the more you cut down on the maintenance required as well. So think about cutting down on the number of gears, and at the very least, get rid of that front derailleur. You don't need that, and you'll save yourself some headaches in the long run. Oh, and while I'm squatting down here, let's talk about tires. This will be number 7. Are we in number 7? I don't know what it's like in your city, but because I live near the mountains, the default bike around here is a mountain bike, and they often come with knobby tires. And I think some people forget how much difference smooth tires make on asphalt and pavement. If you're going to make one change to your bike to make your urban life easier, get some smooth tires. Next on my list of things you don't need, I thought about modeling these for you, but nobody wants to see me in Lycra. Lycra shorts are amazing on long rides, those padded butts you'll be thankful for if you're going on a 100-kilometer ride or you're out for days and days at a time. But if you're just riding to work or riding to the neighborhood pub or the grocery store, do you really need to dress up like a cyclist? Why can't you just wear your regular clothes and ditch the athletic wear? If you're worried about sweat, just slow down. No one's measuring your speed and time anyway. Just get where you need to go. Remember, it's about the destination, not the journey. Okay, that's enough about things you don't need on your bike. Now I'm going to give you a few things that you do need, or at least things that I use all the time that I really like. Have you read Jody Rosen's new book called Two Wheels Good? It's a good one. Anyway, in it he makes the point that the bike is an urban machine. It's easy to forget that these days in North America, especially when so much of cycling is focused on road racing or mountain biking or BMXing, the sport side of cycling. But fundamentally, for most of its existence and in most of the world right now, the bike is a machine for getting around cities. In fact, you could say the one thing that defines the difference between a city bike and one of those other kinds of bikes is practicality. And the most practical thing you can do to your bike, and I've said this before, is make it so you can carry stuff. So key to an urban bike is a rack. You need to be able to carry stuff to make your bike a truly functional, practical urban machine. Get a rack. Which leads me to the next thing you need on your bike, once you've got the rack, is you need a carrying device of some kind. A basket that goes on the back or the front, pannier bags. You want to get the stuff off your backpack and onto the bike because it makes the ride that much more pleasant. I've got another video about this that I'll link below, but those are two important things to your urban bike life. A rack and something to carry stuff with. So my next thing that you want on your urban bike is, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, a new one to me, and that is a kickstand. Now, for a long time, I resisted having a kickstand. I don't know why. I thought it was like too heavy or ruined the sleekness or the aesthetic of the bike. But I got one recently, and I'm like, why did it take me so long? A kickstand is so practical. I use it all the time. It's better than leaning your bike against some random fence post or a bollard or something like that. And what does it weigh? As much as a water bottle? It's not going to slow you down. Get a kickstand. Don't be like me. Here's another one of those no-brainer things that I don't know why everyone doesn't have these and why it took me so long. Fenders. If you're going to ride every day to work or somewhere practical, your pants are going to get dirty. Unless you have fenders, just get them. Okay, accessories. Now, I can sympathize with those people who think that too many accessories ruin the vibe of your bike. Nobody wants their handlebars too loaded up with stuff, but there are a few accessories that come in handy for me. One is a bell. It actually may be the law in your city to have a bell. At the very least, it's a courteous thing to alert other people to your presence. Lights. There's all kinds of lights out there. I prefer the hub dynamo kind that are powered by your pedaling, but these aftermarket lights are great. Now, how do you turn this one off? There you go. A phone holder. I use this Peak design case and I really love it. It is nice to have your phone accessible because you can look at it for directions and that kind of thing. It's just a nice to have kind of thing. I wouldn't say it's crucial. What is crucial is a good lock. Your bike is going to get stolen, so make it as hard as possible for a thief. Don't cheap out on the lock. I mean, there's lots of other things you can consider too. A chain guard, I don't know, reflectors. They're not as good as lights, but they're better than nothing. Flags, streamers, I don't know. Accessorize your bike as you see fit. Make it your own. So that's it. Those are the things I like on my bike. So I hope that was helpful. Again, no judgment on anyone for the way they ride their bike. I think it's great for anyone to ride. I'm just here trying to maybe simplify things a little bit in a world that likes to overcomplicate things. So I hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.